Just to let you know, I will be recording all of the UCAS sessions that I do. Okay? What will happen is by the end of today, because I will be taking this home, I may have to make some edits, I may need to do some bits and pieces. I will then put a link to the video on the UCAS 2025 Google Classroom. There is a lot of information I'm going to share with you. You won't remember it all. However, if you talk to any of the Year 13s, they have actually found being able to go back and re-watch makes my editing it worthwhile. Okay? Can I also just put this little proviso in? It is for your use and your parents' use. You may wish to share the link with your parents so they can actually see what's going on. Okay? It is not for you to then send the link to all your friends. I was very honoured by the fact that a couple of my last year's videos went round the sixth form at Enbrook. That shouldn't have happened, but then I understand one or two reasons why. Okay, so that's just the sort of proviso there. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I may have taught one or two of you further down the school. You may realise that I don't actually teach anymore. This is my job. I do UCAS coordination. Okay, I am not in every day of the week. However, if you want to send me an email, and my email address is there, I can answer all sorts of questions, particularly later on in the year. This morning I had the first Year 13 came to see me at 7:45 because they are one of the early entry students whose application has to be in by the 16th of October. Just to put some context, currently I was a sixth form tutor and UCAS coordinator for a large number of years. I think I was a sixth form tutor for something like 30 odd years. So I do know my way around the UCAS system. I do understand what you are feeling about this. And for some of you, you are going, why am I bothering about this now? The question will be as you will blink, you'll be in Year 13, and there will be various things that you wish you'd applied during Year 12. So let's pitch in to some basic information. Now, there are just around 200 of you, and as of this morning, only 148 of you had actually joined the UCAS 2025 Google Classroom. Now, I only post university-based information on that particular classroom. I don't tend to put it in the main notices stream, okay? And this video, the link to this video and the slide deck will be put in that Google Classroom. So I will put the class code in the main notices stream once more for you, but I would hope that that number sort of trucks up to around the 200, because that is where all sorts of things like virtual work experience, any courses, any other links will be posted for you to access. Now, some of you may have seen this slide because I did talk to some of you, maybe a number of you in Year 11, about when you were thinking about your subject choices. That has not changed. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. The number of students who don't actually do any preparation, don't actually do some research, and are now finding that actually certain doors have closed to them because they didn't do certain things. I had a student come to me this morning who said, and I will talk to about, you have to do a certain tests for certain universities now, and they say, well, is it too late to apply? Well, the deadline has closed. The deadline was the 21st of September. Those applications have gone in. They just hadn't done their research. So make sure you do your research. And when you've done your research, you keep going through your research and make sure that you have covered all of the bases. And I'll talk to you about some of the things you can look into in a minute. Now, can I say, a lot of people say, the UCAS website, it's only about universities. No, it's not. There is a lot of information about apprenticeships on there, and also degree apprenticeships. Okay, a degree apprenticeship is where a company will actually employ you, okay, and therefore they pay you while you are doing your degree. Okay? My oldest son currently is sitting on about £80,000 worth of debt from his university loans. He is a qualified doctor and he is actually paying that off slowly. My youngest son likes to rub his nose in it because he's actually currently doing his degree. He is currently being paid quite a large amount of money to do his degree, and he's doing it on day release, and his day release runs from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. on a Friday. Okay, yes, that is a 13-hour day, but he's doing it one day a week. So just the contrast. So the UCAS hub, which is somewhere you can do your research, as I said there, is not just about university applications, but when you register on the UCAS hub, one of the things that then starts to happen is when you have put in certain interests, they will start to tell you about open days, and more about that later on. Don't forget there's good old Unifrog, which is great for research. There are videos and all sorts of resources on Unifrog. I am not as familiar with Unifrog as I am with the UCAS website for obvious reasons, but you know, that is there and you've got access to that. So this is what the UCAS website looks like. Okay, and the first thing you need to do, and one of the things you need to do, is that you need to go on there, click on where it says UCAS Hub, you need to register, and you need to say that you are going to university either in 2025 or 2026 if you are planning to do a gap year. Okay, that then puts your data in the right place. It also means that at an appropriate point next summer, you will be able to go start my university application and a whole amount of data will be pulled across. I will say one thing that is absolutely vital, and they will ask you for an email address. Do not use your @maidenearlyschools.co.uk email address, which is the one that you use for accessing Google Classroom, because that is turned off in June of year 13. Okay, you need to use a personal email address. Okay, if you are still using the one you set up when you were 11, you know, that said Cuddly Teddy at whatever, or the name of your dog or whatever it was, now is the time to get a grown-up email address. Okay, you know, first name dot last name or something like that with a number. Okay, so that people can recognize you. If you've already got a nice sensible email address, that is fine. I know that my oldest son, who is 28, is still using an email address he set up when he was 11 because it was first name dot surname. Okay, so make sure, because it will ask you for your email, make sure you use a sensible email address. I offer that to the number of students who say to me, oh yes, I'm not getting the information through. It's because they're Maiden Early Schools. They were using that one. Okay, so there are various tiles that you can click on which allow you to enter your interests. Okay, now what is happening, and I suspect by the time you're in year 13, probably a large number of the apprenticeships which are available will also be handled by UCAS. Because currently, if you want to apply for an apprenticeship, you apply to this one, you apply to that one, you apply here, you apply there, and you have to re-enter the same information over and over again. What the UCAS are actually doing is that they're bringing that, so you make one application and they handle all of that, filling in all the forms for you. That's what they're hoping to do for the summer of 2025. Right, okay, so you're all sitting here with GCSEs. You're sitting here with a crop of GCSEs, some of which you are very proud of, some of which you are going, okay, I wished I got a slightly better grade, but that doesn't necessarily shut all the doors. But an important thing for you to look at now, when you are thinking about what you might want to be doing in 2 years' time, is the only qualifications that the universities can look at is your GCSEs. I will just, because I had a particular interest for a number of years in all things medical, as some of you may be aware, my oldest son, when he wanted to apply for med school, he quite wanted to go to Birmingham. Unfortunately, at that particular time, Birmingham turned round and said, we want an A star in English. And English was the only subject he didn't get an A star in. He got 9 A stars and 1 A, and the A was in English. Okay? And unfortunately, Birmingham then turned around and said, we won't take you for our med school because we'll only take A stars in English. They have now changed that, but there are certain universities who say, we want a particular, we want some maths, or we would like your sciences to have this sort of do that research early on. Have a look at one or two universities and think about what it is and where you might want to go. Okay, so we now ask the question, what sort of university do I want to go to? We will deal with the Russell Group in a minute. That is the top 21 universities in the country. But what sort of style university might you wish to go to? We have on our door a campus-based university. Increasingly, Reading University are actually bringing all of their halls of residence on site or just at the edges of the site. Okay. So Reading, a campus-based university, everything on one site, and therefore all is actually covered, and it's all fairly close together. You may also you may say, well, actually, I quite fancy a city-based university. Bath and Bristol are classic examples of city-based universities, where the university buildings are spread all over the city. Okay? A typical other example of that one might be any of the London universities, where the halls of residence can be anything up to an hour's cycle ride away. Okay? The other thing you need to think about is how far do you want to go from home? You may well decide that you want to go to Glasgow or Aberdeen to get as far away from your parents as possible. Can I say to you, you might do have to remember that if you want to come home for a weekend, it's 6 or 7 hours on a train. Okay? So think about how far away you want to go. Okay, you may say, I will consider any university in the UK. Okay? That is an important question. Some of you may say, well, actually, I don't want to go very far at all. So you then join the 17,000 students at Reading University. Okay? We have a huge university right on our doorstep. Don't dismiss it because it's just round the corner. One of the top universities in the UK. So you need to think about those three criterion. Or you may just say, I want to go to one of these universities, which are the top universities in the UK, top 21, which is called the Russell Group. You may determine that those are one of those is one of the ones you want to go to. If you were to look at that list, consistently, the most popular university for students from Maiden Early to go to is Southampton. We have more students every year going to Southampton than to any other university. It's a very good university. My son went there and he loved the time there. Interestingly enough, the other one where we have quite a number of students go to is Durham. Okay, so Southampton, less than an hour away, Durham, quite a drive away. Okay, and obviously there are the London universities as well, and Oxford and Cambridge. Cardiff is also very popular with Maiden Early students. And we've got quite a few who've actually got places from last year's year 13. So, where do I go to get my information? Well, there are university websites. In the good old days, you would have a hard copy of the prospectus, and we used to put loads of prospectuses out. Ask your friends, ask your family. Talk to your parents. Don't forget that their university information is quite old. Okay? It was a long time ago, and they probably think about the whole thing with rose-coloured spectacles, and they had a wonderful time, and it never rained, and, there was always beautiful food and all the rest. Think about open days. Can I say there are loads of open days this term? Okay? When it comes to the summer, you won't have enough time to think about which open days you're going to go to. Okay? I will be posting links to the open days on Google Classroom. There is something called Uni Days, and that advertises what universities have what open days, when, where, and how. What I would say, if you plan to go to an open day, book that you're going, and also you may be interested in a particular subject. Book to go to the subject talk. Okay? If you just think you'll get in on the day, you won't, because There are too many people wanting to just think they're going to do that. Book and plan your day. Okay, there are various places. UCAS.com Connect has got loads and loads of videos, video tours put together. There's YouTube, has got somewhere called UCAS Online. There is Twitter, has got loads and loads of stuff on universities regularly there, and something called Taster Course, which actually allows you to search by subject and actually maybe look at some of the places are just a PowerPoint, some of them are videos like the ones I'm recording of some of the subject talks and some of the subject lectures which are actually put together by the university lecturers. Now, if you want to go on a school open day, on an open day during a school day, which is possible because some of them are Fridays and some of them are Saturdays, send me an email and I will then clear it with attendance. I keep a log of who's gone where, when and how, so that technically you're allowed 2 open days in year 12 and 2 open days in year 13. However, if you've got a reasonable reason why that's not going to work for you, come and see me or send me an email just to sort of justify that, and we'll see what we can arrange. Or come and have a conversation, okay? So, when you're actually looking, there are some other places. There is something called unistats.com, which actually look at various statistics. As I said, all of these are live links. They'll be in the presentation that I will put up on Google Classroom. Unistats.com is quite useful because it looks at courses and employability at the end of the courses and how many people got a job and how long it was afterwards. Okay, whatuni.com allows you to do some various searches. The Good Uni Guide is put together from information from students. Does tend to tell you what are the cheapest bars, who's got the best beer, where the best nightclubs are, all the sort of important things. Some courses about, what is the contact time? Can I say, one of the things you might think about is you might be somebody who knows full well that you study best when somebody's directing what you do. Okay, some courses have 1 lecture or maybe 2 lectures of the week, and the rest you're actually away doing research and working on your own. You may be somebody who actually would prefer to actually have structured tutorial time, where there is somebody from the course and you sit with and you are actually working maybe on set problems, maybe on an essay, and there is somebody in the room who is somebody from that course who will help you and is there to guide you. Okay, and there is the complete university guide, which is put together by the Times and the Guardian newspapers. Okay, and of course there's our good friend Unifrog. Okay, so here are some questions that you need to be asking yourself. Okay, first question, what do I need to get at A level? Okay, you may decide I want to do sociology and I want to do it at Durham. So therefore you can look at the entry requirements. What A-level grades do I need to be aiming at in order to get on that course? Check also that actually you are doing the right A-levels for that course. Okay? Not all universities use something called the UCAS tariff. That UCAS tariff is points. Okay, your grades are turned into points, and the way the tariff works is that as long as you get to the number of points, you can actually get to that university. Okay, so some actually just use grades. So some universities might say 3Bs, some might say 120 to 148 points. Okay, some qualifications with tariff points might not be considered by certain universities. And the other thing is, have I done anything else? Okay, if you have done your D of E and you have done bronze through to gold, in other words, you've done all 3 levels, that will get you something like 10 UCAS points on the tariff table. If you are somebody who is a musician, okay, that will also, anything above grade 5 will get you UCAS tariff points. If you are somebody who does acting or dance or speech or drama or anything like that outside school and have formal qualifications, some of those will count to UCAS tariff points and can make the difference. I had one student who actually literally had enough points from various other things that they were doing to actually take, if you like, the requirements that they required in school down by 2 whole grades across a grade across each of 2 subjects. So worth having a look at. You need to do the research. There is currently over 130,000 different courses. No, I don't know everything about every single one. I had somebody come to me and say, what about the grades for this course? I have no idea because they change slightly. You need to do the research. I know the things in principle. Now, do I need to do a test? Increasingly, the Russell Group universities are now needing students to do an additional test, which is done before you do your A-levels. It's done in the autumn term of year 13. The top 2 primarily apply to those who are going to do something medical, like doctors, vets, dentistry. And then you have the whole series of other tests, and the list will be growing. But they are tests that are done, some in school, and some are actually done online at the Pearson centres. But you need to check, because that application for those tests normally has to be submitted by the 21st of September if you are going to a university, so that when you submit your application, they have already got your test score, and it is your test score that normally decides if you're going to be called for interview or if they're going to make you an offer. So, you need to check. Some universities require a portfolio. If you are going to do drama, particularly some of the technical aspects of drama, anything to do with architecture, anything to do with art, they expect you to have a portfolio, and that has to be completed normally by January, because they may ask you to talk about it. Quite often these days it's an online discussion, and you might have to submit that portfolio electronically 48 hours before you have the interview. So, as I said, check what are the requirements above your A-levels that your university are going to require of you. Okay, now this one is quite an interesting one, and that is, what is your residential status? Okay, if you were born in the UK, you can go to sleep for the next minute. If you were not born in the UK and you were born abroad, you need to check what is the residential status of your parents. Okay, your parents may have indefinite leave to remain. If that is the case, then that is not a problem. But if your parents are on a particular visa, one of the things that is worth considering is whether or not, if you are 18 fairly shortly into the autumn term, whether or not in your own right you are going to consider having actually residential status in the UK for yourself, because it then means that you get your fees paid or a contribution from the UK government, and also you can apply for a maintenance loan. If not, you can't. Okay? Certainly anybody who has been resident in the UK for more than 5 years is probably okay. I will find out what the changes are for you normally on the 17th of January. Why the 17th of January? The UK government issued the latest set of guidelines. It used to be if you had been in UK education for 3 years, okay, you would qualify for UK fee status. That has now changed. It's now gone to 5 years, I think. But there is a great pressure for them to bring it back to 3 years. So, if you've got an issue, if you've got any questions, send me an email, we'll have a chat and we'll have a look at it. Okay, I will be back in January to talk to you about predicted grades in more detail, but universities, we give them your predicted grades. Okay, it is based on your performance this year. It's the only evidence we have. So it's all the assessments you've done. It will be based on your PPEs during the year. It will be based on homework, and it'll be based on the professional consideration of your subject teachers. Okay, I'm currently having discussions with year 13s who say, oh, my university predicted grades are this, I need. You don't have a conversation about I need. Okay, you need to think about what you need at this point in time so that you are heading for it during the year, because the universities, the predicted grades for year 13 are going home this evening, and that is based on these bits and pieces. I'll talk to you more about how it's put together probably in January, but you do need to be aware it's based on your performance this year. Okay, now one of the things I know you guys don't do is that you don't do Facebook and you probably don't do Twitter. However, there is a huge amount of information out there which is put onto Facebook and Twitter by UCAS and by the universities. Okay? It is worth setting up or resurrecting a Facebook account, if nothing else, to just keep it for your university. In other words, possibly create a new one. You know, dump that old profile. Okay? Because there are videos, if you follow ucas.com, and follow various universities, follow departments from universities, they are posting information all the way through. They are posting information about stuff that is relevant for the course you might be interested in, or the courses you are actually studying. So, make sure you actually follow them. It's worth doing. Okay? On the 7th of October, which is going to be next Friday, there is our higher education fair. Some of you may have had a look round last year in year 11. This year, of course, it'll be far more interesting for you because you'll be looking at various universities. Large numbers of these are the universities which have confirmed. There is a second slide, so it's not just those. Thank you. And all of those. So large numbers of universities are actually going to be there. They will be there to talk to you and allow you to talk to them about potential courses, what it's like at their university, the sort of offers they might be going to be giving to students in 2025. So that is an opportunity for you. If you've done a little bit of research, and as I said, you'll better see these lists afterwards, you know, you may be interested and go with questions, you will find that you get really good answers. Okay, so what to do now? Well, continue research, think about open days, look at work experience. One of the most important things that is going to be asked of you to put in your personal statement is something about your work experience. Keep a record of contacts. What I would say to you is if any of you are thinking of retaking any of your GCSEs, think about, do they actually count? Because some universities don't take or don't account for retakes, okay? Or just think about that. And finally, two final slides, and I've got about a minute and a half left. I don't work every day, okay? I'm mostly in Tuesday, Thursday morning or Friday morning, or I will be doing Tuesday and Thursday. Normally Tuesday I'm in all day. If you wish to see me, okay, my email address is there. The best thing to do is to book up and say, I want to come and see you to talk about that. You can try and find me. My office is opposite L8, okay, and I'm more than happy to talk about career plans and where you're happening to go. Okay, so in a minute I'm going to finish. Okay, and I'm rapidly running out of time. So, first thing to do is, as part of the next session, that we've actually got access to the guest Wi-Fi for you. There is a code. I'm going to leave that up in a minute. And what you can actually do in the second half of this session is actually start to register on the UCAS Hub, research your future, and potentially start to create a plan. And with that, that is where I am going to finish for now.